I'd like to do in the first segment is kind of do some reviewing of what we've discussed so far, and an article was sent to me, and I thank all the folks that are as they listen to things that I'm talking about and sharing with you. Folks sending articles and sending information. That's what small business collaboration is all about, that we work together for the betterment of all. We help ourselves, we help somebody else, and together we help more folks. That is the new business model being developed right now. One of small business collaboration. But hey, someone sent me an article. Put my glasses on. Well, actually, they didn't send it to me. I read this article. I get a publication called the New York Entreprise Report. It's an outstanding magazine about business and small business in New York. I get a printed edition once a month, and almost every day I get some email from New York Entreprise Report. And a current edition asks the question, do you think entrepreneurship can be taught? Why or why not? And if the question is asked to me, of course my answer is that sure, it can be taught. I am trying to teach you about entrepreneurship. Are you born an entrepreneur? I don't know. It's beyond me to know if you're born an entrepreneur, but you learn and you get the spirit and you get the feeling of entrepreneurship from the environment in which you live, or the environment that you create for yourself. I grew up in an environment of entrepreneurship. My grandfather was a successful small businessman. My father was a successful small businessman. And so some of that spirit of entrepreneurship I grew up with. Interesting enough, in college, I never took a business course. I never took a marketing course. And in the last 40 years, I have taught courses in not really taught courses as such, more was a guest lecturer. And I proudly have on my wall a certificate that I got from the Department of Entrepreneurship at the University of Cincinnati, here in Cincinnati where I live. And the director of that department is a good friend of mine, Chuck Matthews. And if you ask Chuck, an educator, can entrepreneurship be taught? Obviously, an immediate answer is yes. I teach students all the time. Chuck is a really interesting guy, and if you've been following me in the last couple of years, I've actually had Chuck as a guest on Stickham.com, shows that I've done in the past. But during Entrepreneurship Week in 2009, 3 years ago, it'll be 3 years ago this November, Chuck invited me into his classroom, and I spoke to a graduate class in the School of Entrepreneurship, and we had a great discussion that evening, and I shared with them what I was doing in my life, why I was doing the things I was doing, what I thought that they might be able to do with their lives. in terms of entrepreneurship, and I proudly hang the certificate they gave me that evening. Every student who was in the class actually signed the certificate, so it was a big thrill. But back to this story from the New York Enterprise Report. I just wanted to quote a couple individuals. These folks who I'm quoting were actually founders on the editorial board of this magazine, the New York Enterprise Report. Robert Levin is the publisher and chief editor, and does a great job with this magazine. If you live in New York, make sure you get a copy of it. If you don't live in New York, go to nyenterprise.com, I guess. The address really isn't on here. Google New York Enterprise, I'm sure you'll get to it. But one of the members, Michael Sininsky, says a great teacher, whether a CEO or an educator, can motivate a child to take a path in life that leads to putting his or her life's dreams in his or her own hands versus the more common way of moving up the corporate ladder. The key word in that quotation is motivation. We can teach ideas, we can teach thoughts about business, but we motivate individuals. And I'm trying to motivate anybody listening today who is thinking about starting a business, that there's no better time that I have seen in all my years of being a small business owner than now. The opportunities are great. There is plenty of money available to start a business if you need to go outside of your own personal savings to start a business. I say this and people say, oh, business is bad. How is there so much money available? Not all banks are quick to lend money. I'd recommend that you speak with a community banker. It's a generic name, community banker. Community bank is generic. Perhaps your community has a bank called the name of your city, Community Bank. When commerce started in any city, one of the very first businesses to start and get started was a bank, because all the merchants in that particular community wanted a safe place to put their money. So they put their money into a community bank. Today, community banks, I've said this many times and I'll say it again, they are the future of lending to small businesses in this country. They are close to the situation. They want to help to create profitable businesses in their community so their bank can be profitable. Look for a community bank. And if you need some help in that area, I've got some great ideas about how to talk to a community banker. And I'm going to challenge anybody that is seriously thinking about starting a business with a very optimized, very Googleized landing page in David's Barter community. You can actually take some space on your page and sell it as an ad to a community banker. And you can actually sell that ad for as much money as it will cost you to have a landing page in the community. Yes, you can actually sell it for what it would cost you to have an ad, to have your business using our social marketing, social network technology. And if you need, once again, if you need help in doing that, message me. Small Biz David, I need some help. What are your thoughts? What are your ideas? If I have the time, I will even get on the telephone with you and call your community banker to convince them that an investment in your landing page not only will help you start and grow your business, but it will help to bring exposure to that bank and perhaps generate new customers from the folks who are reading your landing page. So if you need some help on that, become a registered member, create a complimentary marketing profile, community marketing profile, and then send me a message. Small Biz David, help. Okay, back to some quotations. Do you think entrepreneurship can be taught? Why or why not? Timothy Askew on the editorial board says, there seems to be a romanticism that has developed around entrepreneurship. Romanticism. It's cool to be an entrepreneur. Hey man, it's cool. But I tell you, most of the successful entrepreneurs I know are somewhat eccentric and out of the box, if not downright odd. Would you say that about Small Biz David? Entrepreneurship and small business is really the only thing, not the only thing I know, but the most important thing that I know, because I've been doing it. I have years of experience, and so I don't know any other thing. And I don't want any other thing in terms of business in my life. And to that point, we talked a little bit last week, and I actually shared an article with you. As you're thinking about starting a business, should you start one or should you buy one? And if you buy one, what type of business? Should it be a franchise? Those are very key questions that merit thinking upon your part. I have always, well, I shouldn't say always, the very first major venture, well, my first venture into business after college was I was partnering with a wealthy man in Charlotte, North Carolina. He provided the money. I provided the skills to publish a magazine. His money, my time and energy. And we made a great team. He didn't have to do anything. Just make sure my check was there every week or every 2 weeks. But in that year that that first year that I ventured into publishing, where Mr. Blumenthal, for a period of 3 or 4 years, never made any money. The very first year that I was there, the magazine was profitable. And the business experience only lasted a year, but I learned so much in that year. I learned from one of the greatest entrepreneurs of all time, who started his business literally out of the trunk of his car, traveled around to gas stations, actually giving a case of product called solder seal. You would put solder seal in your radiator. If your radiator had a hole in it or a leak, you put the solder seal in, and it patched up the leak, and you wouldn't have to replace your radiator. And as I said, he started the business out of his car, and it grew and grew and grew till he had a factory manufacturing the product with several thousand employees. He was an entrepreneur that taught me a lot. Matter of fact, let me share with you from my chapter 23 in a book. I wrote Chapter 23 in Counterattack Business Strategies for Explosive Growth in the New Economy, featuring David Leopold here, also known as SmallBizDavid, and Brian Tracy, who I'm going to share a couple other books by Brian Tracy in a little while. But I'm going to end this segment about do you think entrepreneurship can be taught, why or why not? We'll go to Chapter 23. The title of Chapter 23 is 21 Great Business and Personal Lessons I Have Learned in My 38 Years at that time when I wrote it as a small business owner. Actually, I dedicated my chapter to Brian Tracy. My greatest business mentor at the time didn't change my life. He just set me in the right directions, and I changed my life. And thank you, Brian, and what a thrill it was to present Brian with a thank you when I met him a year ago, right now. So, Mr. Blumenthal, how did he impact my life? My first journey into serious entrepreneurship, and this is from page 203, was when I accepted an offer from a gentleman by the name of I.D. Blumenthal to partner with him, his investment, to publish a magazine he owned. Mr. I.D., as he was affectionately known by anybody that knew him, taught me that when you have a dream and you are very passionate with that dream, and you are persistent with that dream, with patience, someday that dream will come true. Yes, you can teach entrepreneurship by the motivation and the spirit of entrepreneurship. Those great entrepreneurs of our time who started and built whatever it was that they built, there are lessons to be learned. So yes, you can teach entrepreneurship. We're going to end this segment right now, but I had wanted to share with you some other articles, and I guess we'll share them in a moment. Some other thoughts about entrepreneurship, and another article that was sent to me, how to find out what customers will pay. So we're going to take a brief 1-minute break here.